Listen carefully. You ever wonder why some people drift out of your life like smoke, like they were never really there to begin with? One moment they're calling you family, showing up in your life like they'll never leave. Then, somewhere down the line, silence, no calls, no messages, just distance. And you sit there wondering, was it something I said, something I did, or maybe was it just never real to begin with? But here's what nobody tells you: loyalty doesn't just happen. It doesn't come because you're nice. It doesn't stick because you were there once. Loyalty is built, it's earned, it's tested in silence and proven in storms. And let me tell you something hard. Most people want loyalty like it's a product on a shelf. They want to pick it up, use it when it benefits them, then toss it aside when it no longer serves them. But the kind of loyalty that lasts for life, that kind you've got to build it with your hands and your heart. You've got to nurture it like a seed, day by day, water it with consistency, shield it with truth, and stand by it even when it's not convenient. Now, I know we live in a world that moves fast. We swipe, we scroll, we skip. Loyalty doesn't fit in a tweet or a trending video. It takes time, it takes intention. It takes a kind of inner strength most people never stop long enough to develop. But if you do, if you really do, it will transform not just the relationships in your life, but the kind of person you become in the mirror. Because loyalty isn't just about who stays with you. It's about who you choose to be, when no one's watching, when it's hard, when it costs you something. I want you to think about something, the last time someone really stuck by you. I mean, they could have walked away, could have chosen the easier road, could have said, "This ain't my problem." But they didn't. They stayed. Maybe they didn't say much. Maybe they just showed up, quiet but present, and in that moment, you felt it. That was loyalty, and that's rare. And if you want that, you've got to be that. You can't demand loyalty from people if you're not willing to offer it first. You can't expect someone to stand in your fire if you're too afraid to sit in theirs. See, loyalty doesn't start with them. It starts with you. How you move, how you speak, how you treat people when they have nothing to offer you. And yeah, there will be people who take advantage of that. There will be folks who mistake your loyalty for weakness. Let them, because here's the truth. Loyalty isn't for everyone. It's for the real ones, and your only job is to be one of them. Because when you are, the right people will see you. The right people will feel you. And they will stay not because they're stuck, but because they want to, because you've become something rare. Someone they can trust in the storm, not just the sunshine. So yeah, listen carefully, because most people miss this. They chase applause, they chase attention, they chase followers, but the wise ones, the ones who live full, rooted, powerful lives, they chase loyalty, they invest in it, and when they find it, they protect it like treasure. And let me tell you something real, if you're tired of people walking out on you, if you're done with the empty friendships, the hollow promises, the "I got you" people who disappear when it counts, then it's time to change what you attract by changing what you offer. Loyalty is not something you get, it's something you become, and once you become it, you'll never have to beg for it again. Stay with me, because I'm about to show you how. Be consistent, not convenient. That might sound simple, but it's the difference between being remembered and being forgotten. Between trust that deepens and trust that dies. You see, people don't stay loyal to who you are on your best day. They stay loyal to who you are every day. It's easy to be kind when the sun is shining. Easy to show up when it's fun. Easy to be present when it's all going your way. But that's not consistency. That's convenience. And people feel the difference. They feel when your presence depends on your mood. They feel when your kindness is conditional. They feel when your loyalty is temporary, and your word only matters when it benefits you. You ever been around someone who only calls when they need something? You ever had a friend disappear when life gets hard? Yours or theirs, that doesn't feel like loyalty. That feels like usage. That feels like you're a tool, not a person. And yet, we do this sometimes. Without even realizing it, we become convenient. We love when it's easy. We commit when it feels good. But when consistency is tested, when showing up gets hard, when being there starts to cost us something, that's when we vanish. But listen to me, you can't build anything real like that. Not a friendship, not a marriage, not a business, not even a legacy. Real loyalty is built brick by brick, day after day, whether the sky is clear or the storm is loud. You want people to trust you. Be consistent, not perfect, not flashy, consistent, because consistency tells people, you can count on me not just when I'm comfortable, but when I'm committed. It's what builds safety. It's what makes someone feel like they're not walking alone. And in a world where people are tired of being left behind, that matters more than anything. Now here's the part nobody tells you. Being consistent doesn't always feel rewarding. Sometimes you'll show up for people who won't show up for you. Sometimes you'll be loyal to people who can't even spell the word. And that hurts, no doubt. But you're not doing it for them. You're doing it because it says something about you. You keep your word because your character depends on it. You stay present because that's who you decided to be. Not for applause, not for a thank you, but because your soul is anchored in something deeper. Convenience says, I'll be there if it fits my schedule. Consistency says, I'll be there because I said I would. Convenience says, I love you when it's easy. Consistency says, I love you even when it's inconvenient, even when it's quiet, even when it's messy. If you want loyalty for life, you have to become a person of rhythm. A person who doesn't just do the right thing once, but does it again and again. People remember how you made them feel, not once, but over time. You show up for someone 10 times, and maybe they only notice once, but that one time they needed it most, that's the moment that sticks. That's the moment they say, you're real, you're solid, you're home. Let me tell you something that took me years to learn. Being consistent may not always be appreciated, but it's always felt. It creates a foundation under people's feet, a sense that they're not walking through life alone. That somebody has their back, not just when the cameras are rolling, not just when the crowd is watching, but always. And yes, it's hard, it's tiring. You'll have days when you want to quit, days when you wonder if it's even worth it. But then someone looks at you and says, thank you for being there. And suddenly, you remember why. So don't chase the applause. Don't chase the convenience. Chase the kind of consistency that makes people feel safe, seen, and steady. Because when you're consistent, you become something this world desperately needs. Reliable, rooted, real, and people don't walk away from that easily. You want loyalty for life. Then stop showing up only when it's easy. Show up because it's right. Be consistent, not convenient, and watch how everything around you starts to change. Keep your word like it's gold, because in the end, that's exactly what it is. Your word is the one thing you carry with you that costs nothing to give, but everything when broken. Think about it. How many times has someone looked you in the eye and said, I got you, or I promise, only for those words to fall flat when you needed them the most? You remember those moments, don't you? Not because of what happened, but because of what didn't. They said they'd be there, and they weren't. They said they'd never hurt you, and they did. They gave you their word, and when the moment came, they treated it like it was optional. Disposable, temporary, and that stings in a way nothing else does. Because when someone breaks their word, they don't just break a promise. They break a piece of trust. And trust, once cracked, doesn't go back to what it was. Even when you forgive, even when you move on, the fracture remains. But let's flip it. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about what kind of person you're choosing to be when you speak. Because here's the truth. Every time you say something, every time, you're making a deposit or a withdrawal from the account called trust. And over time, people learn. They learn whether your word is a promise or a performance. They learn whether to believe you or to brace for disappointment. So what's it gonna be? Because there's something powerful, beautiful even, about someone who keeps their word. Someone who doesn't just speak to impress, but speaks to stand. Someone whose yes means yes, and whose no means no. No fluff, no games, no backpedaling. You become that kind of person. You don't have to chase loyalty. Loyalty finds you. People lean into you, trust you with their truths, walk with you through seasons, because they know you're solid. Because when you say something, it happens, not always perfectly, but with integrity, with follow through, with heart. See, keeping your word isn't about being flawless. It's about being honest. If you can't do something, say that. If you're not ready to commit, say that. If you made a mistake, own that. That's what builds respect. That's what makes people say they're real. But if your word bends every time the wind changes, if you say things just to get someone off your back, if your promises are just polite lies wrapped in good intentions, then understand, people will stop listening. Not because they're cold, not because they don't care, but because they can't afford to count on someone who doesn't carry the weight of their own words. Keeping your word isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it means sacrificing comfort. Sometimes it means following through when nobody would have blamed you for walking away. Sometimes it means standing in rooms you'd rather escape just because you said you would. But in those moments, when it's hard, when it's costly, that's when your word becomes gold. Not just to others, but to you, because you start to look in the mirror and see someone trustworthy, someone accountable, someone worthy of the loyalty they ask for. You want to be a leader, keep your word. You want to raise strong kids, keep your word. You want to build a love that lasts, keep your word, because no relationship, none can survive without trust, and trust grows in the soil of honesty, consistency, and character. You plant that every time you follow through, even when it's hard, even when nobody claps, even when the only one watching is you. So the next time you say, "I'll be there," be there. The next time you say, "You can count on me," mean it. And if you can't do it, don't say it, because loyalty doesn't live in big gestures. It lives in the quiet moments where your actions match your words, where people see that when you speak it matters. Keep your word like it's gold, because to someone out there it is. Respect is the soil, loyalty is the tree. If you're not planting respect, don't expect loyalty to grow. It's that simple. It's that deep. See, people aren't loyal to power. They're not loyal to fear. They're not loyal to manipulation or guilt, or the games we sometimes play to keep them around. People stay loyal where they feel valued, where they feel seen, heard, honored, not for what they do, but for who they are. And that all begins with respect. Respect is one of those things that seems basic, but it's rare. It's more than just saying please and thank you. It's more than being polite when it's convenient. Respect is how you treat someone when you don't need anything from them. It's how you speak about them when they're not in the room. It's the space you give people to be human, to make mistakes without being humiliated, to show up broken without being judged. Without respect, everything else falls apart. You can't love someone you don't respect. You can't lead someone you don't respect. You can't build loyalty with someone you constantly dismiss, criticize, or look down on. You know what hurts people the most? It's not the fights, not the disagreements. It's the slow erosion of dignity, the little jabs, the constant interruptions, the subtle condescension. It's the way some people make you feel small, like your voice doesn't matter, like your feelings are always too much, like your presence is optional. That kind of treatment wears a person down. It makes them question their worth. And eventually it pushes them away, not because they stopped caring, but because they got tired of not being cared for. Now flip it. Think about the people you'd go to war for, the ones you'd stand by in your darkest hour. Why? Because they respect you. Because they treat you like a human being. Because even when you were low, they never talked down to you. Even when you failed, they didn't make you feel like a failure. That's the kind of respect that builds loyalty, and you don't have to agree with someone to respect them. You don't have to share the same beliefs, come from the same background, or live the same life. Respect says, I see your humanity, I honor your experience, I may not understand it all, but I refuse to belittle it. You want loyalty that lasts a lifetime, start there, with your kids, respect them. Don't just raise them, learn them, listen to their hearts, not just their habits. With your friends, respect their time, their boundaries, their growth. Don't guilt them into staying. Inspire them by showing up real. With your partner, respect their individuality. Don't love a version of them you've created in your head. Love who they are right now, flaws, scars, and all. With your team, respect their ideas, their efforts. Don't micromanage, don't manipulate. Lead with dignity, not dominance. Because when people feel respected, they naturally lean in. You don't have to beg. You don't have to convince. Respect makes them want to stay. Want to protect the bond, want to go further with you than they ever would alone. And here's the realest part: respect must be mutual. It's not just something you demand, it's something you model. You teach people how to treat you by how you treat them. You show them what you tolerate, what you accept, what you give, and when you lead with respect, real respect, you unlock the deepest kind of loyalty. The kind that doesn't run at the first sign of trouble, the kind that doesn't need constant reassurance, the kind that's rooted in truth. Because you can't fake respect, and you can't fake loyalty, but you can earn both. By how you move, how you speak, how you show up. So plant the right seeds, water them daily. Don't just demand loyalty, deserve it. And watch what grows, because when respect is the soil, loyalty becomes the tree. Strong, deep-rooted, unshakable. Show up when it's ugly, not just when it's easy. That's where real loyalty is born, in the mess, not the moment. Anybody can love you when you're shining. Anybody can clap for you when you're winning. But the ones who show up when the lights go out. The ones who hold your hand when you're falling apart, when you've got nothing to give, when you're not even sure who you are anymore. Those are the people who prove what loyalty really looks like. And you know what's even more powerful? Being that person for someone else. Because most people disappear when things get heavy, not because they're evil, not because they don't care, but because showing up in someone's pain makes them uncomfortable. It's easier to send a text than to sit in silence. It's easier to scroll past the struggle than to lean into it. It's easier to love when the picture is pretty, the energy is light, and the burden is small. But life doesn't work like that. There will be days when the people you love are not okay, when they're angry, when they're distant, when they're pushing everyone away because they don't know how to ask for help. And in those moments, they won't remember what you said. They'll remember if you stayed. So many people are used to being abandoned when they're not easy to love. Used to being left the moment their joy fades. Used to fighting battles alone because no one ever stuck around long enough to see them through. You want to be different, show up when it's hard, be the kind of soul who doesn't run from brokenness but stands in it with grace. You don't need the right words, you don't need a solution. Sometimes loyalty just looks like presence, just looks like I'm here, I see you, I'm not leaving. And yes, it takes something out of you. It takes time, it takes energy, it takes strength, but it also gives something back. Something deeper than surface love, deeper than temporary connection. It gives you trust, it gives you bond, it gives you belonging. Because let me tell you something, when someone remembers that you showed up in their darkest hour, they will never forget you. You become a part of their healing story, a reminder that not everyone runs when things get real. A symbol that loyalty isn't just a word, it's a choice over and over again. And sometimes you'll show up for people who can't return the favor right away. That's okay. Loyalty isn't about keeping score. It's about keeping faith, trusting that your presence matters even if it goes unspoken, even if it's met with silence or frustration or nothing at all, because loyalty doesn't always feel good in the moment. It's not always received with gratitude, but it's felt deep down, quietly, powerfully, and one day when that person is able, they'll look back and say, "You were there when I needed you, you stayed when others left, you didn't fix it, but you didn't leave," and that means everything. So don't just show up when it's convenient. Don't just love people when they're lovable. Don't just support them when they're strong. Show up when it's ugly, when it's complicated, when it's uncomfortable, when there's nothing in it for you but the knowledge that you chose to be real. That's where loyalty grows roots. That's where relationships go from surface to soul. That's where people finally exhale and say, I don't have to perform here. I don't have to hide here. I don't have to earn love here. You want to be someone who's remembered for a lifetime. Then be someone who shows up when others step back. When the weight is heavy, when the tears are silent, when the heart is tired, that's when your presence becomes a gift. That's when your loyalty becomes unforgettable. So the next time someone you care about is going through the fire, don't wait for the flames to die down. Walk into it with them, not to rescue, not to fix, but just to stand beside them, because real loyalty doesn't look away. Real loyalty leans in. Protect what's not in the room. That's the kind of loyalty that's invisible but unforgettable. Because anybody can smile in someone's face. Anybody can pretend to care when eyes are watching. But what you do when that person isn't in the room, that's what tells the truth about your loyalty. You see, loyalty doesn't just show up in big gestures. It shows up in the quiet moments when you speak someone's name with honor, when you choose silence over gossip, when you correct the lie instead of enjoying the drama, when you stop the disrespect before it spreads like wildfire. That's where loyalty lives, not just in presence, but in protection, because there will always be rooms where someone you care about won't be there to defend themselves. Rooms where their name will come up in ways that aren't kind. Conversations wrapped in false concern but dripping with judgment. You know the kind, the I'm just saying kind, the no offense but kind, the kind that chips away at someone's character behind their back. And in those moments, you have a choice. Will you protect them, or will you pretend you didn't hear it? Too many people stay loyal when it's convenient, but go quiet when it's costly. They laugh along to keep the peace. They nod to stay accepted. They stay silent while someone else's reputation gets torn down. And later, they'll say, I didn't want to get involved. But loyalty is involvement. Loyalty is protection. It's standing guard when someone's not around to guard themselves. It's covering their name like it was your own. It's honoring the trust they placed in you, even if they'll never know what you protected them from. And let me tell you, people can feel that kind of loyalty even if they never hear the story. It shows in how they feel safe around you, how they open up without fear, how they breathe deeper knowing that their soul is safe in your presence even when they're far away. Because real loyalty doesn't change with the room, it doesn't shift to please the crowd, it doesn't trade someone's dignity for a moment of approval. Real loyalty is consistent. It defends, it shields, it protects, even in the dark. And yes, sometimes that means having hard conversations. It means saying, that's not true. It means interrupting the comfortable silence with uncomfortable truth. It means not laughing when someone's being mocked. Not co-signing the jokes that cut deeper than they appear. It means putting respect before popularity, integrity before image, character before comfort. Because if you let people drag someone's name through the dirt while you stay quiet, don't be surprised when someone does the same to you. What you tolerate in others is what you teach them about yourself. And if you want loyalty to come back to you, you've got to give it when no one's watching. And this goes beyond just friends or family. This is about how you speak about anyone. Your coworkers, your spouse, your kids, your leaders, your ex. Especially your ex. Because anyone can be kind when it benefits them. But to speak honorably about someone you no longer need, that's rare. That's real. You don't have to agree with someone to protect their name. You don't have to still be close to speak well of their character. And if they hurt you, if they betrayed you, you can still tell the truth without telling it in a way that destroys them. Because protecting what's not in the room isn't about pretending. It's about choosing to build, not break. Choosing to be someone who leaves people's names better than you found them, even when they're not around to hear it. That's the kind of loyalty that earns trust. That's the kind of loyalty that doesn't have to shout, because it shows up in how people feel around you. Safe, covered, seen, respected. So the next time someone brings up a name that's not in the room, pause. Ask yourself, if they were here, would I say this? If the answer is no, then don't say it. Be the kind of person who protects in silence, because real loyalty isn't loud, it's loyal. Loyalty doesn't need the spotlight, it grows in the shadows. You don't need to post it to prove it. You don't need an audience to validate it. You don't need applause to make it real. In fact, the truest form of loyalty often happens where no one sees, no one claps, and no one even knows. We live in a time where everything is public, where loyalty has turned into a performance. Look what I did for them. Look how I showed up. Look at this text I sent. But if you need the world to see your loyalty in order to give it, is it really loyalty, or is it just performance wrapped in validation? Real loyalty is quiet. It's patient. It's done without cameras, without status updates, without the need to be praised. It's the kind of loyalty that checks in at midnight just to say, "You on my mind." It's paying attention to the little things, like how someone shuts down when they're overwhelmed, or how they go quiet when they're hurt, and responding with presence, not performance. It's defending someone's name and never needing them to know. It's sticking around through their worst seasons and never asking for recognition. It's being there when they forget to be strong, when they're tired of explaining, when they can't give you anything back in return. Because loyalty isn't a transaction, it's not "I'll be there for you if," it's "I'm here, period." Think about the people who have shown up for you without asking for credit, the ones who never posted your pain, the ones who didn't need to be seen because being present was enough. You remember them forever. You trust them deeper than anyone else. Why? Because they were loyal when no one was watching, and that's the standard. Be that kind of person, not just someone who stands beside people when the camera's on, but someone who stands with them when it's just you and them and the silence is thick with pain. Someone who holds space, not for attention, but out of love. Because loyalty that demands attention is not loyalty. It's ego, and ego has a short lifespan. It gets tired when it's not celebrated. It walks away when the crowd leaves, but love, real love, it stays. Quietly, steadily, without needing to be seen, and don't get it twisted. Quiet loyalty doesn't mean weak. In fact, it takes more strength to show up without being noticed, more courage to care without being thanked, more heart to carry someone's pain when the world isn't watching. You know what loyalty looks like? It looks like sitting beside someone who's broken and saying, "You don't owe me a thing. I'm not here for a spotlight. I'm here for you." It looks like doing the right thing when it's inconvenient. It looks like keeping a secret you were never supposed to know, but you carry it with honor because trust was handed to you in silence. It looks like sending a prayer, not a post. It looks like support that's real. Support that lasts even when the benefits fade. See, when you're loyal in the shadows, people feel it in the light. They don't question your heart. They don't second guess your motives. They know who you are because you've proven it in the dark moments. The hard ones, the lonely ones, the ones where no one else stayed. And that kind of loyalty, it lasts a lifetime. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to explain it. You just have to live it. Because in a world full of noise and fake love wrapped in filters, loyalty that grows in the shadows is sacred. It's rare, and it's exactly what we need more of. So be the person who's still standing when the cameras are off, the one who shows up after the hype, the one who checks on people when everyone else forgets, the one who gives their loyalty not because it looks good, but because it feels right. You want loyalty for life, don't just speak it. Don't just post it, be it, quietly, faithfully, and without needing the world to see. Because what grows in the shadows, that's what stands the strongest in the light.